Very nice to see you. It's, of course, it's a great pleasure and an honor to stand here in front of you and to welcome you to see familiar faces and new faces. And I am honored to give you a brief background on how the Can-Go Afar started. But before I do that, like I said, after 9 years, this is becoming more a family affair because we see children, diverse background, Canadians, afar. It's the way the world should be, right? And thanks for giving us this opportunity for the Afar people, because the Afar, well, before I get to the Afar, I want to also thank the community here, the Afar community. I'm only thinking when I say Afar and the whole of Africa, so I keep forgetting the Afar community here. So I want to thank the Afar community who's been the engine behind this in Ottawa, and to have a leadership like what we have in Can-Go Afar. Warren, please, I don't know where you are. Warren, oh, here you go. Waddee, as we call him in Afar, he is the real engine that connects the Afar and Canada. So for that, Waddee, I'm very grateful for your friendship, very grateful for your leadership, and without you, we could never have been to where we are. So Waddee, thank you again. So about the Afar, Can-Go Afar Foundation, I don't know if I'm going to be connecting with the slides here, but the Afar people, as you know, are located, live in their indigenous homeland in Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Eritrea. This people, my people, are the most marginalized, the most neglected, the most everything imaginable in the Human Development Index, whatever you want to look at it. We're off the chart. We're not there. So what you're doing here tonight is not just supporting our projects, but you're supporting the true Afar identity. You're helping the Afar to overcome, to make the world know about the Afar people internationally. So for me, that is more than the dollars we raise here tonight. And to the Afar people, we're so grateful for having such a champions like you, Waddee at the top, but everybody's our champion. So for that, I want to thank you. Like I said, the projects are just a tiny fraction of the Afar problem. But it is doing amazing work, especially tonight. What we're doing here is very sad situation. Not only the Afar are marginalized and neglected, here comes El Niño. The worst drought in 50 years. It's even worse than the 84 Ethiopian famine that the entire world knows about. So this has really devastated the Afar livelihood. Not to mention the natural or the environmental catastrophe, but it's also the Afar, like being indigenous, as you know, in Canada and Australia or all over the world. When you're neglected, when you're marginalized, people like to take advantage of you. This, when I mean that, this multinational corporations come to the Afar, they exploit their resources, they break down their way of life. On top of that, here comes El Niño. So where's the Afar going to go? Except to reach out to the friends in Canada, in England, in Australia, people like you. So To me, in order for us to fight this hunger, devastation, lack of education, whatever you call it, the rights of the refugees, rights of the raped, the human rights violation, we have to look at this and look at the entire, because we really try to save the life of indigenous people here. Their environment is going down and down. The climate is not helping us. So again, this is why nights like this, gathering like this, fundraising like this are so important for our people. And again, we love you all. It's always great pleasure. From every year it's done. And you make this possible for us. We love to see the children. If you have children, don't worry about it. Bring your children next time. Because this is what makes the Can-Go Afar unique. We're not a huge organization, but we want your involvement. Not just donating Waddee. Waddee agrees. You need more helpers. You need more lawyers. You need more people with deep pockets. You need Waddee. We're behind you. And this has been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for listening to me.
And I've read the UN reports, I've read the reports of the United Nations, BBC, CDC, and others. And I want to talk to you about the drought. This drought is a game changer. This drought is a game changer. Credible, objective scientific reports are saying that it's the worst drought in the northeastern part of Ethiopia where the Afar live. The worst drought in 50 years. 50 years, it's a long time. All of us, most of us in this room will remember Bob Geldof, 1983, 1984, and the horrible crisis, the images, Live Africa, the music and so forth, and the world community gathered together to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to relieve the effects of drought at that time. This drought is worse. It's caused by a combination of two things. El Nino. Everyone has heard of El Nino. It's a Southeast Pacific revolving sea that creates weather patterns that are felt all around the world. So what it does is it causes cold and heavy rains in certain places and heat and drought in certain other places. So the El Nino right now is profoundly powerful in creating the stepping stones to the drought in Ethiopia. Added to that is global warming. So those two toxic recipes combine to be a true killer. There are, right now, today, 10.2 million people in Ethiopia alone affected by the drought. In our region, there are 1.6 million Afar affected. So of the 10.2, 1.6 are Afar. What happens with the drought? Well, first of all, the drought kills crops. Some of the Afar have learned to plant and become agriculturalists. That's a minority. All of them are pastoralists, which means they graze livestock. So when crops fail, pastures fail, what happens next? Livestock fail. When livestock fail, the Afar suffer. The livestock become ill, they perish. Even if they're alive, they're marginalized. They don't produce milk, they don't produce meat, and they're infected with a disease. The World Food Program, quoted in a report on the 24th, 2 days ago, said the international community needs to immediately increase funding to US $1.4 billion to deal with the Ethiopian drought. Of the $1.4 billion, only a third of that is currently funded, so they're looking for the other 2/3. It's a lot, it's a big number. We can't do that much with what we'll do tonight, but we can do a lot. We can save lives and we will. Save the Children Foundation, the world's leading independent organization and NGO operating in 120 countries, says this. It currently classifies just 2 global humanitarian crises at the highest level of emergency in the world. Who can guess the first one? Syria. The effect of the civil war in Syria is having the worst possible effect children in that country. Guess what equals that? The drought in Ethiopia and its effect on the Afar. That says a lot to us. Hundreds of thousands of livestock deaths. Now, Mark and I, and Martin Lowe were there in November, and a few others. We saw the effect of this drought. We talked and we interviewed people affected by it. When the animal dies, if you let it sit, it creates disease, the communities are affected. So they have to incinerate the carcasses of the hundreds of thousands of livestock that are being affected. The maternity hospital, you saw on the slides, you saw us delivering medical supplies to Barbara May Maternity Hospital, Dr. Margaret. This is what at this report, March 31st says. The maternity hospital currently overwhelmed with a constant stream of highly anemic and malnourished delivering mothers to care for. Lots of stillborn, lots of underweight babies, lots of deaths. ABTA has recently launched the first ever community radio station in the Afar region. This gives appropriate life-saving messages to tell people where to go to get water. So that's the situation. I have in my hand here right now, Super Cereal, the World Food Program, 1.5 kilograms. So you mix that with water and you save lives. Very simple. It's not vegetables, it's not fresh fruit, it's not fresh meat, it's not milk. This will save lives in a day. Simple. And we're going to fund that.
Gazi zino ingene